Information, when it arrives quietly, often carries the loudest consequences. In Tyre, King Aaron had begun to rely not only on what could be seen, but on what could be known before others understood its meaning. His spies, scattered across the 5 kingdoms, had become his unseen eyes, his silent watchers in lands far beyond his reach. And on this day, from the harsh and restless lands of Zaronga, a message arrived that did not bring comfort, but confirmation. Bushalami had begun executing village chiefs, not for war, not for rebellion, but for disobedience. Those who refused to stand with him were not persuaded, they were removed. One after another, leaders fell, and with them the last threads of resistance within Zaronga began to disappear. What remained was not a kingdom of tribes, but a force being shaped into one will, one command, one purpose. Aaron read the message more than once, not because he did not understand it, but because he understood it too well. His mind did not stay in the present, it moved backward to the vision that had shaken him, the dream that had shown him a future he could not ignore. In that vision, it had begun the same way. Bushalami had first united his people through fear. Then he had turned outward, and the first kingdom to feel that force had been Tyre. Aaron's grip tightened, not in panic, but in realization. This was not coincidence. This was a path unfolding, and if left unchecked, it would lead to the same end he had already seen: fire, ruin, and loss. Fear did not weaken him. It clarified him. Without delay, Aaron called for his service chiefs. The council gathered quickly, men of experience, of discipline, of loyalty, leaders who had stood beside him in both peace and preparation. When he spoke, it was direct. Defenses would be strengthened further, patrols increased, supply routes secured, and beyond that, plans for a counterattack would begin. The room shifted immediately, not in rebellion, but in confusion. One by one, questions arose. Zaronga had not attacked. No declaration had been made. No threat had been delivered. Why risk provoking what might still remain contained? To them, it did not make sense. War, in their understanding, was reaction, not anticipation.
But Aaron did not explain, not there, not to all of them. Instead, he dismissed the council with orders to prepare defenses only, leaving unanswered the deeper intention behind his command. And when the hall had emptied, when only silence remained where questions once filled the air, he called for 2 men, Sir Bare and Prince Rondell. The inner chamber was quiet, closed, removed from the reach of uncertainty. Here Aaron spoke differently, not as a king addressing a council, but as a man revealing truth to those he trusted most. He told them everything: the vision, the sequence, the march into Mandev that never happened, the trap, the fall, and before all of it, the beginning. Bushalami executing his own chiefs, forcing unity through fear before turning his attention outward. As he spoke, the room did not interrupt him. Bare listened with the stillness of a man who understood that some warnings did not come from logic alone. Rondell listened with something deeper: curiosity, fear, and the early formation of understanding. When Aaron finished, silence held for a moment longer than expected. Sir Bare was the first to respond, not with disbelief, but with thought. He did not question the vision, he questioned what must be done with it. If what Aaron had seen was possible, then ignoring it would be the greatest mistake they could make. But acting too early could create the very war they sought to avoid. It was a line that required precision, not force. Rondell, though younger, saw something else entirely. Not just danger, but pattern. He spoke carefully, noting how power was being built in Zaronga, not for defense, but for expansion. That if Bushalami succeeded in fully uniting his land, he would not stop there. He could not, because a force built on dominance must always move outward to sustain itself. Aaron listened, and for the first time since receiving the message, the path before him began to take clearer shape. This was no longer about reacting to war. It was about preventing it, or controlling how it began. Beyond the walls of Tyre, the world remained unaware of the storm quietly forming within its borders. Bushalami continued his rise. Malu remained hidden in Siro. Dalat moved carefully through alliance and influence. Paraton built strength in silence. And across all of it, unseen yet present, a single thread connected everything. Decisions made before the first strike. Because in the Eastland, wars were not won by those who fought first, but by those who understood when the fight had already begun.